Hey, last question of the day. Woo. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so thank you for coming to our panel today, and we're talking about a really great topic, which is from concept to green light pilot. And with us today is Peter Katz and Don Lee. And I was supposed to do a 1-minute summary on them, or a 1-sentence summary on them, and I decided to change the format a little bit because I think these guys are pretty phenomenal. I think it's worthwhile for you to hear what they've done, which is why they're up here to share the lessons that they've learned. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Peter Katz. Just give us a little one-minute thing. And by the way, taking a cue from Ivan there from the earlier session, I will be
evil ding bell.
The old ding bell. So go ahead, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so that we'll have context to the experience.
Well, I'm going to introduce myself with a haiku, so I don't go over time. No kidding. I produced feature films. I'm always constantly looking into new ways to explore storytelling. So that's pretty summed it up.
Yeah, I'm Don Lee, and I'm a producer. I dabble in commercials, films, music videos, a lot of proof of concept short films too. So one of the projects that I did was called the Resistance series. We built that one up as an indie project for about 2-3 years. And we're lucky enough to have Ghost House Pictures see it. They brought it to Stars, and they developed it as a web series pilot, and we released it on Sci-Fi Channel. It became the first ever web property to actually be debuted not on the web, but on TV. So that was a pretty cool experience.
So the reason why we're up here and why Peter and Don are going to speak with us is they've re-engineered the content production and distribution process, and they've done it in a way that has proven successful, and to come up here and kind of share why they did it, how they did it, and where it makes sense for others to be able to do the same. So I'm going to go ahead and get started then, and we'll go down and talk about what is a film pilot, and why should you do it, and what would be the results that you would get from doing that. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right, cool. Recently we produced a short called Already Gone. It was based on a 113-page screenplay, and we wanted to communicate this idea. So we got a really talented team of directors, and we had 2 actors, one from Glee, Harry Shum, another actor, Sean Ashmore from X-Men, and we put together this story that would be perfect for the web. That would be like the appetizer that would whet the appetite of potential buyers. And we developed a marketing strategy to promote it with like Wired and Mashable, various press outlets that partner with us for the eventual release.
Does anyone want to take a wild guess on the budget of that? Short?
15,000.
No.
It's tiny smidgen percentage of that. It's actually about $1,000.
Yeah, we can't really go to Vegas for that kind of money, unfortunately. But we can make a cool little short.
How much was it?
About $1,000.
So tell us, this was an amazing little piece of work. So tell us about what this did for you guys, why you approached it this way, and what were you hoping to do by producing this film short?
The goal, first off, was communicate the vision of the director, because a lot of times people are like, well, yeah, I really want to make it gritty, or I really want to make it action-packed, or this and that, but until you actually make it, it's hard to get a sense of what the movie you're actually going to make. So we first wanted to communicate this vision. And what we wanted to communicate to was the buyers, to press, distributors, and people around the film, and to fans. It's not just to the buyers. We want to communicate a story to the fans of the action genre, and the fans of these actors. And that was the main goal going forward.
Okay, and so what did you do with this that was different than how anyone else would normally do? Besides putting it out, how did you get the eyeballs? What kind of results did you get? I understand you did get written up for this, for the way that you actually introduced it to market. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
All right. So a lot of times people have this idea that they produce the next amazing story, whether or not it's a novel, comic book, or short, and you think that an audience will just appear. Well, there's so much noise out there. You probably have had pet projects that you're like, hopefully people see it, put it out there. But here we felt, let's take care of the press. Let's focus, as this short was like a feature film. We looked at it like a feature film, how we approach PR, everything. So before we even produced it, we actually created all sorts of feature stories that we wanted to pitch to various press outlets. For instance, Mashable is one of my favorite websites, and they focus on innovation and social media. So we created a social media story to pitch Mashable. Then we had another story that we pitched Wired, and that was focusing more on the film angle, and another one which is Asian filmmakers. So various angles that we sold way before the video even got launched.
Yeah, I think it's very important to pull from whatever resources you can, because as an indie filmmaker, it's hard to find those elements to work in your favor. But when I talk about pulling resources, I'm talking about it doesn't have to be just practical or in person. It could be even digital resources. Let's say, for example, making friends with like Redditors, from Reddit, and I think that's a perfect way to leverage view counts and things like that, because Redditors are their fan base is so strong that they can make or break a video and create some virality out of that video. So same thing goes with making friends with bloggers or people on Twitter, for example.
Yeah, you also too want to look at, like I said, a feature film. There's a lot of shorts been involved in the past. They just shoot it, they drop it, but get as many assets as possible. Get behind the scenes. Create all sorts of content, because you want to be able to have videos that show the making of just on the camera angle. You want to create like a list of maybe 50 different potential stories that you could come from one piece of content, and you branch off of that. Because you might have in a market beat, it might be Asian filmmakers who watch it here, or you might have social media fans, you might have action fans. We had a lot of Glee fans, because here comes Glee. So a lot of fans that you wouldn't imagine watching this and going, oh, I love it, because they came through the rabbit hole of Glee. That was their way in. So you have to choose what ways in you're going to create and then expand on them. So once it's eventually launched, you have audiences coming from all these different directions.
Yeah. And I think it's very important to make sure that your film, like short film or whatever it is, that it's a piece that can also translate to the next level, whatever property you're thinking that it's going to be. Like if you're going to build that proof of concept to turn into a feature film or a web series, or maybe just another short film that you're trying to do, but as a higher budget. Always have that in mind and always push out of it.
Okay, so I have a quick question for you. So you're referring to this as a short film, but we also call it a film pilot. And maybe you can help me sort of identify the distinction between a film pilot versus a short film. Is there one?
Yes. They're fundamentally the same thing, a short film, but just falls under the specific category of the type of short film as the direction I'll go. We could show the examples of District 9. So District 9 originally started off as a short before it was a fantastic science fiction feature. And I think for it coming to life, you needed somebody to get behind it, because it's an original idea. I'm sure if people read the script, they would have found it probably a fantastic original. But the whole thing is people would say, oh, there's not enough original stories in Hollywood. Well, they want to make money. They don't want to take giant risks. So people will invest in things that are pre-awareness properties, like Transformers, right? The reason they're doing it is not just because they love playing with Transformers, which I do, but they like to do it because there's already a market for it. And you can even be a small market. There are comic books that only have 5,000 readers, but those 5,000 readers, that represents market research. So when District 9, initially started as a short, you prove, you have it vetted, there's a certain amount of audiences, there's a certain that will get behind it. And then some of the money will go, well, that many people get beyond this level, and we put $15 million into it, or whatever amount, there's a greater chance that we could grow our audience. Of film pilots that are in development. So a bunch of really talented filmmakers from around the world shot these shorts. One of them is called Pixels, which is from a commercial director. And the whole idea is simply 8-bit video games attacking a city. Simple as that. Adam Sandler optioned it, and now it's in development, because what they saw, the executives and the filmmakers, was this is selling experience. Is this a ride I want to go on? Maybe the ride's only 3 minutes, but they're like, well, that 3 minutes was badass. What would the 90-minute version of that be? And that worked with not only Adam Sandler, I think it was Mark Wahlberg who recently optioned a thing called The Raven, which was a science fiction story that now he's producing that's going to act in it. So that's what it is. It's just, I feel is one of the more effective ways to communicate your vision and eventually prove that there's a market for whatever story you're trying to sell.